all quiet in the coop. The boys have gone. They've gone off to their new home with Mr. Black Dog, who's a thoroughly sound chap. I'm very pleased they've gone to him. And I'm busy fixing Big Sue's. Rachel's also messing about with her little camper, a little Berlingo camper. Can't see much at the moment, but there's sinks and cooker and stuff under there. There's a table that sits in the middle, and these can be either benches for the table or they can be beds. Nice little thing actually. Yeah, a bit small, but it's usable. Now, problems with Big Sue's. I've lost a hell of a lot of power, and when I'm driving up to the top of Dunstable Downs to work in the morning, I can't get more than 2,000 revs or 30 miles an hour going up that hill. You'd barely notice it pootling around town, but as soon as you need to go up a hill or go fast, it's just not happening. Now, I've suspected for a long time that my EGR valve, which normally sits just down there, I've taken it out. And it's now sitting in a bucket of brake cleaner, along with various other bits that I had to remove to get to it. My EGR valve, I suspected that was blocked. And then my engine light came on. So I plugged in the little magic box at work, and it told me that I had insufficient flow EGR valve. So my suspicions confirmed. I've removed the EGR valve this morning, and I was a bit worried when I found that it wasn't actually blocked as such. It was a bit caked, a little bit sooty, but the valve and the valve seat itself were actually pretty clean. Sorry, the cats are distracting me. I found that the EGR valve itself wasn't that bad. It had a bit of a coating of soot on the inside, and I've got it soaking down there in the brake cleaner for a few hours. Clean it up a bit anyway. But it was moving freely, the diaphragm's intact, and it wasn't all that blocked. So I started following the circuit back across to the inlet manifold down there. Oh, wrong car, I thought I was pointing at the Volvo then. The inlet manifold just down there. I ended up taking off the EGR cooler here, which is just a little heat exchanger. You've got engine coolant going in and out of these two pipes, and then your exhaust gases come through a set of tubes in there, which are currently soaking nicely, and cools the gases before they come through to the EGR. That was reasonably blocked, not too bad. Hang on, someone's just pulled up, give me a second. Sorry about that, electric vehicle delivery driver. I had to start laughing. They always remind me of Johnny Cabs, you know, out of Total Recall. Anyway, that's all soaking and clearing. It wasn't too bad. The valve soaking. Oh, soppy fingers, don't matter. Let me show you. There you go. You've got a diaphragm in this bit, heavily sprung. Comes through to this valve and seat just here. Exhaust gases coming via here. And you're not going to see much in there without a torch, but it's actually not too bad. I'm giving it a good clean up anyway. Yeah. Where the blockage was mainly was actually down here on the inlet manifold. This little port just here, which is where the cooler pipe, the EGR cooler pipe connects on a little flange just here. That's where it was blocked, and it was about 2/3 blocked actually. It was quite bad. Now if you look here, I've just been using, I didn't want to risk putting all of that muck, all of that soot and muck, I didn't want to put it into the inlet manifold and start blocking the little tiny little pinholes and that you get in there, you know. So what I did, I used a little coach screw here and I raked it out. I put it into the hole, raked it out, gave it a quick little spray with a bit of carb cleaner, give it a few minutes, raked out some more. I've actually not quite finished it, and you can see the muck that's coming out. It's horrible. Look. slowly scraping away at it, and opening up that port so that the EGR can get the flow that it needs. Oh, where did that come from? Right, I'm going to just carry on and finish off cleaning up that port on the manifold there. Very carefully. I really don't want little bits going in there and causing blockages, because what with the engine bay torsion bar, and I've already had to take off the intercooler, I've had to take off numerous hoses and vacuum lines all over the bloody place. I really don't fancy having to get that manifold off, so I'm going to be very careful about not putting any muck in there. Scrape it out bit by bit, and I'll show you the progress in a bit. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's all right. Right, Rachel's on the camera for me because I need both hands at the moment. I just want to show you one little thing that I think is probably a really good idea when you're soaking your EGR and trying to clean all the soot out. If you submerge it in the brake fluid, sorry, not the brake fluid, don't do that, in the brake cleaner, if you push down on the valve, as long as it's one of these old-fashioned mechanically operated ones, that I don't know if you can do this or not with the new electronic ones, but these old-fashioned ones, you can push down on it and actually pump, and this will also show you whether or not your diaphragm's damaged. This one obviously isn't. Look, that's pumping through nicely. I think this is probably quite a good idea, just to flush some of the cleaner through, and then you're doing the back of the valve seat and you're doing the stem and everything and the spring behind it. There you go. Just a good idea, I think. Well, other than the passing thunderstorms, which came and went for about 3 hours, that actually went surprisingly well. My EGR there's clean, the cooler's clean, all the associated pipe work's nice and clear. And the port on the back of the manifold down there that connects to the cooler, that's all nicely scraped out and clean now. When I started her up, she gave an almighty black belch out of the exhaust. Tick over was a little bit rough for about 30 seconds as she sorted herself out, and I just took her for a blast up over the downs up to Whipsnade roundabout and back, and it's actually running better than ever. I think that, not the EGR, that actually wasn't too bad. I think that port round the back there that feeds the EGR, I think that was probably halfway blocked when I got Big Sue's, and it's taken just over a year to get to the point that it actually started throwing up an engine light and stopping me from going any faster than 30 mile an hour. Right, let's start it up. I had to top up the coolant a little bit because when I took off the intercooler there, lost a bit of coolant, so I just had to top that up. Let's get that out of the way. Start her up. Oh, where's my keys gone? Here we are. I never used to be able to hear the turbo whirring away. But since that's all cleared out, you can hear the turbo winding up and down. At least I hope it's supposed to sound like that. It's certainly working a lot harder than it was before. Anyway, success! She's running a treat.